Good afternoon. My name is Clifton Johnson. As you may know, I'm the founder and the executive director of the Empower Series, and we are brought to you through your generous donations as well as the in-kind donations of A&E Media Group and the long-term financial support of Comerica Bank. Our mission is to positively impact the world by inspiring people to thrive in every area of their lives. And Comerica Bank and our mission are in line. They focus on relationships and helping individuals and businesses succeed. And I'm here this afternoon with Dr. Lawana Gladney, who is also about helping you be the best version of you. She's been a 2015 and 2016 Empower Series speaker. I believe we have the 2016 presentation on our YouTube channel, so
Absolutely.
please, check out our YouTube channel. If this is your first time coming on our YouTube channel, subscribe and share it, get the word out. We're very excited. We were just talking about us hitting that 2,500 mark.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. Our goal is 1,000. And I'm just excited because you're always doing good stuff.
Right.
And I learned so much by your energy and the things that you present to us. I know you got a new book out. We're going to talk about that. But just to introduce you to everybody, this is Dr. G. Can we call you Dr. G?
Yes, absolutely. That's what everybody calls me.
So Dr. G has a PhD in instructional psychology and technology, right?
Yes.
And you focus on emotional wellness,
Yes.
as well as the science of the mind, y'all. The science of the mind.
Absolutely.
So what she does is she designs programs to really help people change, to bring out the best version of themselves. You work with individuals. You also
Yes.
work with companies and helping them design programs to become better employees and better companies.
Absolutely.
So if we become a better version of ourselves, number one, because our most important relationship, with a person is the relationship with ourselves.
Right.
Then we can be better stewards of our time and our talents to other people.
Right.
And also affect the community and affect the world. So, Dr. G, I'm just so excited to be talking to you again.
And
It's
I'm
been a
excited.
minute, right?
I know it's been a minute. I'm excited to be back, and I'm so proud of what you're doing and what you're achieving and stepping out there and just doing it.
Well, here's the thing. You're an example of that. We were just talking about how you started your entrepreneurial pursuit when you were a teacher. Mm-hmm. So teaching has always been in your blood.
Always been in my blood.
And then you found something to where you were able to leverage yourself and not just help students, but really help teachers be better teachers
Absolutely.
to affect students.
Absolutely.
And when you step into your calling, like you said, you're always on.
Always on.
You're fulfilling a purpose and you're growing. You've written how many? 5 books?
Six. This
Six
is my
books now?
sixth book, yeah.
Okay, so you have 5 books before. Your new book here, which is The Power of Attraction, Getting the Man You Want.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no, you need. There you go. I'm
Need,
sorry.
not want.
One is
One is
scratched out,
crossed
y'all. Okay. This is good. We were just talking about a man version, but I'm very excited to hear about this because, we all are dealing with those relationships, right?
Yes, yes.
And I don't know if anybody, whether you're in a relationship that's been, like my aunt has been married for 60 years.
Okay.
They did something right.
Yeah, they did.
And then I don't know about me. I have an ex-wife, and my daughter will always tell me, Dad, everybody thinks you're so calm and so nice. Maybe it's just me and my mom that just gets a different side of you.
You give the better version of yourself to other people.
I don't know. I don't
And
know.
that's what happens in relationships all the time. That's normal.
So
really is.
this book is taking off, I take it, right?
The book is taking off. Yes, it is. And I tell you, Clifton, like we talked about, I've been in this game, if you will. Mm-hmm. Life is a game. I've been in the entrepreneur space over 30 years.
Wow.
And it is just not by design. I was talking to you, just kind of came to me because when you fulfill a need and you solve a problem, people will pay you to help solve a problem. And I was at that time solving problems for discipline because there was really no class that taught us how to handle and control the kids and the parents. And that was back in the day. Now they probably have all kind of things they did start creating, but I created a discipline program that worked. And everything that I've always created, and that was before I even knew I was going to be a doctor or even had a desire to be a doctor and research mind and psychology. Mm-hmm. But I always knew back then my program that I created was it was called the 5 Keys to Real Control, going beyond a discipline plan. So my keys were respect, expectation, attitude, listen, and love. I've always been about the characteristics and the nature of people and being able to tap into that and change. So if you respect the kids, they will show you respect. If you have high expectations, they will give you. If you have a good attitude, if you listen to them and love them. That was all soft skills, stuff that's hard to teach people.
Yeah.
But I've always been about that. And so as on my journey, as I continued and then got into being, the master's and the doctorate and understanding psychology and how our mind works, that's always been a part of me and who I am, is to get into the heart of people and change their minds, have a good attitude about the kids. And so when I look at the pathway, and sometimes where life takes you that you don't know where it's going to take you.
Yeah, you really don't. Sometimes, how about all the time?
I know. You really don't know. So I never had a plan to be a doctor. That was not on my radar. Who cares? Who cared about being a doctor? As long as you know what you're doing. And the audacity of that. But that attitude that, I can conquer the world without, letters and degrees is what really got me the degree, because I had the nerve to take my little program after teaching for 4 years. I took my program, and if you could just see the book, I've kept all of my stuff.
Right.
My keys were all neon, and I just would print them out. And, back in the day, we just had to do it how we did it, and the teachers would get these little keys, and they had to respect expectations. I took all of this to the dean of the University of Oklahoma, the dean of education, and walked in with my little stuff, saying I needed to come in and provide a class and teach the professors this information so they can teach the pre-service teachers, and they'll be prepared when they get in the classroom, because I wasn't. I created my own. He's looking at me. I know he thought, this little young girl, because, I look young for my age, hallelujah. Right. So at 27, you can imagine I looked like I was 21. And I'm saying, I'm going to come and teach the professors. And he's going, do you have a degree, an advanced degree? It's going to be really difficult for you to teach a doctor. So I said, I have real life experience. All of 4 years, I have real life experience. And I'm sure he just loved that, because he said, oh, she has a lot of nerves and audacity to come in here. I think she's going to tell our professors. And he said, you know what? Are you thinking about getting a degree? And I was like, no. He said, well, we're recruiting minority students. And he said, we're giving scholarships, academic scholarships. So I said, oh, no, I'm not going to take a GRE. I'm not taking any more tests. I'm done. He said, you don't have to if your GPA is good enough. Well, it was.
Right.
I was like, okay. He said, we're giving out scholarships, and we're recruiting minority students here. And he said, so we can pay for it. I'll put you in contact, call this person. And I was like, I left out of the office making a sales call. Right.
Now you got a scholarship
for
a degree.
No, I went straight to the admissions office and applied and got admitted into the University of Oklahoma to start working on my master's. I was like, well, if I need a degree to teach you my stuff, I'll get it.
Did you eventually go back and teach them?
And but so what I did, when I got the master's, they came and said, we want to keep you as a part of our doctoral program. And if you know how that works, it's really difficult to get into doctoral programs because they don't want everybody. They want to keep it at a higher level. And they say, we're going to pay for it. I'm like, who's going to turn down a free education?
You got a free master's?
Free master's in doctor. I'm like, Dr. Gladney? Oh, that sounds pretty good. Sure, I'll do it. That's what I'm saying. You never know where life is going to put you. Throw at you, take you.
Well, I'm on this path. I'm 2 more classes away from getting my master's in public administration.
Oh, cool. That's wonderful.
My goal is to keep going to get my PhD.
Keep going.
I don't know where it's going to take me, but Dr. Clifton Johnson.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
It opens up so many doors. And once people, they can't take that from you. You're educated, you're smart, you're a doctor. And then I have people go, what's your first name? If I say Dr. Gladney, they go, what's your first name? I've had this doctorate for 20 years, for 21 years.
Right.
Trust me, and it still happens. Well, what's your first name? I'm like, really?
Like, why you want to know?
You have a problem? Because I said I'm Dr. Gladney and I went to college for 12 years and this, and you want to take that from me for this moment?
I think not.
It's really interesting. So, but they can't take it from you, and everybody just knows you're intelligent. You don't have to prove anything anymore. So it's just... Again, it's a testament to sometimes we're on a path and life is going to take you a different path.
Yeah.
Or God has something else laid out for you that you didn't know. And this book is one of them. So I'm excited.
Well, I want to talk about this book because in 2016, you did something on YouTube where I think it was a webinar on the power of attraction. It had something to do with relationship.
I did.
and now it's 2019, and you come
Yeah.
up with a book,
Okay.
Power of Attraction.
Yeah.
So tell me about the evolution.
So that's so interesting that you even saw that. So what I did is I created courses. I created a lot of programs and courses. And as I said, I am able, my degree, instructional psychology is how we process information. So it's not just human behavior, because the regular psychology studies humans and how we interact and act.
Right.
This goes into how your brain, the cognitive processes, and how you process all the information that comes into your system and your mind. And then the technical piece is how to design and create information so that it can change the behavior. So I got the best of all of it in understanding human behavior, the mindset, and then how to create information that can change people's behavior and attitudes. So I've utilized that. I've created so many different programs. Having been married for a long time, we were talking about that for almost 24 years, and then getting a divorce, and now being in the single world, I thought there was some people needed some help out here. So I need to create a course, because women kept coming to me, what's going on? I'm attracting the same kind of man. How come I can't get a man, et cetera, et cetera. So I was working with them individually, and I was like, I can't work with everybody. And everywhere I go, somebody going to pull me aside and say, Dr. G, this is my deal. And I say, well, I can tell you what the issue is, but that's going to cost you.
Right.
So I decided, I said, you know what? You need to create a course. Create a course for women. Take them through a weekend course. And, teach them, educate them on their mindset, what they're doing, change the behavior. So I did all of that, and I was like, okay, created the course. I launched this, and I said, well, I didn't really launch it, but in the way I started,
delivering it, right?
Delivering it to the people who said they wanted the information. I booked a hotel room, had the space. You said build them and the people come? That's not always true.
Because you were building it. Well, nobody come.
I did a webinar. I don't know, maybe 5 people showed up. I said, okay.
Wait. And one was on time, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. So, but these are lessons as an entrepreneur and as you're going on this journey. And I'm like, okay, so I'm calling up all the people who said, and it's like, well, Dr. G, well, not right now. I have this going on. I have that going on. And I'm like, look, just don't buy those red bottoms. You can afford the class.
Right.
Just don't buy that Chanel bag. I'm thinking of all these things. I'm seeing all these women driving all these fancy cars, but they telling me they couldn't afford the class. And my mentor, who has taught me a lot about sales and the marketing and internet marketing and all that, he said it's not about the money. He said it's not about, because I said, well, maybe I need to lower the price.
Yeah.
But
it never is about the money. So what did he say?
He said it's not about the money. He said, try it a different way. I said, well, maybe it is, too high because it was for, a weekend. And he said, I'm telling you, he said, this is what you need to do, when you do the webinar, offer this, offer that. But I didn't have enough people on the webinar to offer anything. So it kind of fell flat. And I said, you know what? It's not the time.
Not now.
So this year, my goals were, I said, I need to revamp the course and actually do a launching and get it out there marketing, because I just tried that one and it stick. And I was like, okay, well, I still have this information. So when I called up one of my colleagues, we always, you should have people around in your camp that you keep each other accountable. What are your goals this year? What are you doing? What are you working on? Let me see. We just kind of like a mastermind, And I called him up and I said, hey, this is what I'm doing this year. I'm going to revamp this course, and he said, that's good, but you need to write a book. And he had written 16 books. Okay. Victor McLaughlin, you may know him. And I said, no, I don't want to write a book. I said, I have the course, and that's what I'm going to do is the course. And he said, you need to write a book, because the course is not going to get to everybody. Everybody's not going to want to pay for a course. But a book will get you in the door. And he said, I'm telling you, he said, because he writes novels, and he said, all the women and all the questions that he gets constantly, he said, Dr. G, you got it. You got the credentials. You got he said, you got the information, experience. He said, you can help these women.
Right.
So I was like, okay. I was like, oh, I guess so. I already have the course done. It's not going to take. He said, come on, it don't have to be a long book, but it needs to be a book. I'm telling you, this is going to be the $1 million seller. I was like, okay, you know what? Okay. I said, you know what? I can get that done. Us having this hour conversation.
Yeah.
And I said, you can do this. You've written 5 books. Come on. I got off the phone and I immediately started working on a book. Now comes to the title, because you got to go through all this stuff.
Hot title, though.
But I had a totally different title.
What title? Can you tell us what title you had?
I can.
That's gonna be
Where's
good.
my husband and why hasn't he found me?
Wow. Okay.
He said, no, we can't do that one. He said, that sounds too cliche-ish and a little bit cultural. He said, this book has got to reach all cultures.
Yeah.
He said, that sounds like something y'all sisters would be saying to each other.
Where's
my husband and why
at?
haven't he found me? And I said, so we argued a little bit because I come up with great titles of books. I've, have written the 5 others, and they're great titles. And it always makes people go, oh, my God, I got to get that book. So I thought I had the title.
Yeah.
And we went back and forth. He's like, okay, you going to listen to me or not? You have to have people that can speak into your life and slap you when you need to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
those are real friends.
Oh, yeah. He said, he's written 16 books. Why would I not listen? He said, it's too long. First of all, this, that, he went through. I was like, okay, we just going to have to be.
We have to agree to disagree, right?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, let me just think. So kind of went back and forth, and I would run it by him, and he's like, well, the title, The Power of Attraction, was the title of a course. Like, well, why wouldn't you use the same thing for the book? Mm-hmm. So it just kind of evolved, and then it was the trust factor when you build into people's lives, and you don't think you know it all. Right. You still can learn after 30 years. And there it was. This book took me less than 60 days.
Well, here's the thing. You mentioned a couple of things that we talk about in the Empower series. The importance of having people around you. That is, Munson Steed talked about it being your collaboration board.
Yes.
Or mastermind.
Yeah.
But it's the group of people who will be holding you accountable to achieving the things that you say you want to achieve, as opposed to saying, yo, girl, let's go to this happy hour, or let's go to this, watch this game, let's
Absolutely.
go shopping. You can find them all the time.
All the time.
But holding you true to getting this book out so that you can bless more people and achieve your goal that you've written down is very, very important.
Absolutely.
The other thing I think about when I look at, books like this, relationship books, are mastermind. I think Napoleon Hill said the most important member of your mastermind should be your mate. Have you heard that before?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And I know a lot about Napoleon Hill. He said it should be your mate.
Yeah, because that's where it came from, the mastermind, his concept. And he said, think about it, because a lot of times your relationship at home affects what you do outside.
And it does.
And if you're going to be with a mate, that person should, they have the biggest influence on you.
They do.
Is that something that you addressed, or should that be part of this book, or is that in here? I don't know.
Well, this book is really so relationships.
Okay.
So as the emotional wellness doctor, 75 to 90% of all our sickness and disease start with emotions and stress.
Okay.
So that means that we're kind of in control of our health, because 75 to 90% of your sickness and disease start with emotions and stress. The top 2 stressors that cause a sickness and disease and stress and emotions are finances and relationships.
Yeah.
So I talked a lot about relationships. However, this one is pre-relationship. So that's a difference. What that means is people are having problems even getting into a relationship. We're not talking about how to sustain one yet.
Okay.
This book is all about, if you attract the right person, then your relationship will make it. But people keep getting in relationships with the wrong person, and you try to pick up the pieces and you try to correct. So I work with individuals, and I'm always having to pick up the pieces and have them to reconstruct a relationship that is broken. I said, you know what? There has to be a better way. If you can teach people how to get the right person, like we're talking about your aunt, that lasting, then you can do away. So this is not even about the relationships. That's a book that's coming. Like how to keep the man. This is the pre-work.
This is preventative care, right?
Preventative care.
Okay.
Not the intervention.
Okay.
So while that's important, because I used to just focus on how to keep the relationship strong, how to this, and having gone through a long marriage and a divorce, I can tell you a whole lot of stuff that you need to know and what to avoid. But this is how to attract that right person so you can get in that right relationship.
So I heard that you interviewed 60 men.
I did.
To get some input on this.
I did.
And so Give us an outline of the book.
Okay, so
Right.
the outline of the book is really about the woman. This book is for women. I wanted to help women because I found so many women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who had never been married before, who wanted to be married. That was their goal and their dream and their desire. And now they're in their 40s, they're in their 50s. That has not happened. They're not going to have the kids because of the age factor, and they still don't have a mate. They still don't have that partner in their lives. And it's like, what's wrong with me? What's going on? What is the problem? So is it the men's fault? So I was observing all this time. I've been out here in the single world. I've been doing research and observations and analyzing everybody and people.
Did your dates know that they were part of the research?
Eventually, I told them.
It was a blind study,
like,
right?
Listen, I got a folder on all of y'all.
Right.
And everybody got a folder.
Are they in the book too?
And I would tell some of them, I was like, you need to be careful. You may end up in my book.
Right.
But, so the research wasn't just personal, but I was watching a lot of other people, watching what women do, men do, how they interact, listening to because everybody dumps on me. I'm a doctor, and everybody, I just need to tell you this. And so I'm hearing the same thing from guys, like, gee, can you help us find a good woman? Like, it's all these good women out here.
Right.
Okay, there's a problem. So the focus of the book was on the woman. I start with the foundation of who you are and understanding the power that God has given you as the woman that he created to be a helpmeet to the man. You were created for a special purpose. He was designed to have dominion and lead and rule and whatever. We were designed for him. Now that is powerful right there. People don't get that. Yeah. So it's all flipped and twisted and whatever people think, and they create their own theories. But this is what works. So when you understand the masterpiece that you are, and that's the first chapter talking about that, then it's just really, I try to hit women, bam, right in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I also knew that women listen to men. They will go to a workshop and hear something from a man easier than they will from another woman.
Right.
And so men have a voice. You have a place here. But who gives you the platform to talk and say? Because do we really listen to men? We want to hear from you, but as a woman, are we really listening? Because we already think we know.
I got you.
I know how people think. I know how the mind is going and moving. So I knew it was important because when I did the course, I had interviewed about 17 guys because I was going to present their information in the class. And they all were excited. Can I come to the class? I'm like, no, if you come to the class, you change the dynamics of the class because you're a man in a class of women. No, I'm trying to teach the women. So it's that same concept, but I knew 17 was not enough. I said, you need to get as many men as you can to be a part of this study because the more you get, the research you can generalize. So I started with 50. I said, oh, yeah, 50 is a good number. Then it kept going up. And I was like, okay, I kept going up to 75. But you know what? That was a lot of time. It was very time consuming.
So what did you do? Did you interview them or was it a
interviewed
survey?
Them.
How did that work?
No. The surveys was not going to work because that's just circling, how you feel, and it's the numbers. I did qualitative research, which I got to hear. So I could hear each and every person. It was either in person or on the phone. And I asked everybody the same set of 14 questions. And so I took down the same information. When you do qualitative research, it's a little different, but I had to take notes and do everything and listen to, what they had to say. And then you have to go back and when you correlate the information, you look for the words and the code words that appeared over and over again.
So what was the demographics? Was it age?
So the demographics were men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And then I did men that were married, men that were divorced, men that had never been married. So like 17 of the men had never been married before. And then you have, the population of men that are married because I felt like it was important that they're still married, that their voice is in here, even though, some of them have been married so long they don't know what they would want at this present time in their lives, but they know what works. Right. And so that was all really important. And so in dividing up, I wanted to see if there was a difference in the decade, in the 40s. Do you think different in the 50s? Didn't have quite as many men. I think I had about 5 or 6 men in their 40s, and then 3-4 men in their 60s. The bulk of the men came from their 50s, and it was just random. Random meaning that it was people that I knew. that I knew I had access to, and I could call them up or see them out and say, hey, give me your number. I want to call you. I want to interview you, you know.
Well, I didn't get a call. I'm kind of like thinking.
You didn't. And you know what?
You didn't have my number. That's what it
You
was,
didn't
right?
have your number. As I was looking through my thing, and then, of course, if I'm thinking, you know, I don't know somebody's relationship status because I didn't meet as many married men as not, you know, on copy. So, are you married? Are you divorced? What happened to you?
Like,
okay,
why you
can you be
know?
my
Like,
study?
why you want to know, right?
Yeah, so you know, it was just, it ended up being really a good pool of men. And then to find out 17 of these men had never been married before. So that was just like well, what's the deal here?
Yeah.
Why have you not been married? I know why the women are not married, but why are you not married? You a man. You get to ask the woman. So it was just some very interesting data, and it took about 35 hours of time listening. Men can talk. Did you know that? Well, some men can really talk.
I've heard.
Oh my God. They go on an hour, you know, you asking.
Don't get it started. Don't get it started.
Some men, you know, they just right to the point. They would answer the questions. They didn't have a lot of extra. Other men, every story you can imagine, and the women, and I was like, okay.
Gotcha,
so I had to remain very objective. I couldn't put my own thoughts and opinions because some of it I was like, But I was learning as I was going. I said, I'm just here to learn. I'm very objective.
Right.
So I knew that was going to be important to include in the book. So in one chapter, I wanted women to hear what the men had to say.
Okay.
And so I couldn't put it all in there. So that's a part of the course, that they get all of what every man had to say because they all had something to say about every question. So I have all that data. So it's a lot of data. And I could just write a book on that itself, the data of what men had to say. So yeah, that was interesting to include that, but that's a bonus in the book. The book is really focused on women.
That's what I was going to ask.
And so then it talks about, okay, we need to heal from the past. You're carrying all this designer baggage with you, and we make it look pretty, and you don't hardly know it's baggage anymore.
Right.
It's baggage. And so one of the chapters deal with that. It deals with, you know, your insecurities and where you are, and so we have to heal. And then teaching women about the composition of a man. I thought that was very important, that women understand how men's brains are wired. People don't know this because everybody had to take Psychology 101. But what you remember is Sigmund Freud, and everybody probably tried to forget most of what they learned. Because if it didn't apply to where they were going in life, it's like, oh, that's interesting. But understanding the wiring of a man's brain versus a woman's brain. You are like you are because of the way you're wired. Forget personality and everything else, but your brain processes information differently. And if women can understand that, then we can communicate better. If men can understand how our brains are wired, we can communicate better. So I talked about the composition of the man. You know, I talked about his mind. I talked about the male ego, and I talked about the male sex drive. All of that is really important because we're not taught about these things. But they cause problems in relationships. Right. They cause problems in attracting the right person. So when you break it down and you put people through a course, so I was kind of breaking it down in the book, to have an understanding, why are you letting sex be a big issue when they're wired in this way? And this is what they have to deal with. So if you recalibrate how you look at something, then it's helped. So those are the kind of things that I put in there, you know, for the women to understand.
So did you address, you talk about power of attraction. So what we know is that we have a lot of influence in what appears in front of us.
Absolutely.
So who we're being tells us more about anything else. So how did you address that in this book about who women are and how they're being the biggest focus?
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how did you address that?
So one of the chapters, it deals with who are you really. So I take the women through some activities to find out who you really are at this present time in your life. Okay. And now that you know who you are, now that we've kind of dealt with some of the past hurts, and so we can move forward, then one chapter is just totally on attraction. It's the laws of attraction, the laws of similarity, the law of reciprocity. And then I also talk about, and I put in there some biblical references as well. And then I talk about energy. I talked about that in my last book. I'm really big on people understanding that the energy that they create, their mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical energy have everything to do with who you are and how you do life. And people can feel that. And it's the energy that you put out that attracts the type of people that you have in your space, be they women or men. Your friends that you get, if you got a lot of drama friends, and you attracting that. If you have a lot of people in your life and men that are, did you say, are crazy, you got to look at yourself, boo, and say, wow,
Right.
what's going
So
on?
if you're talking about your mate, it's like this says a lot more about you than them.
It says a lot about you. You attracted that type of person. What was it about you? And that's really hard for people, Clifton, to understand, because if they're like, well, no, I didn't know, that he was going to be like this, or he's a cheater, or he just lies. It's something about you that attracted that type of person. And when you can own that, we're talking about grown-up people. And I talk about emotional maturity, like growing up, grow up and accept the responsibility. And so if you keep getting the same person over and the same type of man that's in a different suit, that's you. Now, can there be one-off and somebody surprised you or you didn't see the signs and signals? Yeah, absolutely. But if there's a repetitive pattern, you have to understand. And so when I go into do a deep dive so people can understand the energy and that you're giving out, what you're giving out is what you're getting. And a lot of times, women don't know what they need to give out because they're confused.
Well, I know it's really tough because a lot of times we're so critical on ourselves, and we can't give what we don't have.
Right.
And what I found in my own experiences with my relationships that have not always been successful, two things I found. Number one is that whenever I am upset about anything that I'm dealing with, it always has to do with what I'm not getting. And if we know that it's better to give than to receive, the focus should be always, how am I giving?
Right.
And at some point when we stop giving, we start looking at what we're getting, and then we get upset.
Right.
And the other thing is, how much time do I really spend really caring for myself? Whether it's physically, spiritually, mentally, how much time do I spend getting to know myself, accepting myself for my imperfections, not being as critical to myself? We're so busy with this distractional stuff outside of us. Is it so that your book really focuses on looking in?
It focuses all about you.
Okay.
And it's really from the woman's standpoint.
Okay.
So, because I didn't want the research about the men to overshadow this book, so that women think, oh, I wrote a book so that I can tell you what men think about you.
Yeah, because that's not what this is about.
That's not what it's about. This book is for women. And I think some people have gotten that a little confused, but this book is for women, getting to know who you are, getting to understand the power that you have within you to really change all of this. We have been given so much power as the helper to a man, created for that purpose. And women don't know their power anymore. Yeah. So they've turned that over, and men somehow think they got the power. And so, and it's not about, Lou, I got the power, you got the power. It's not about that. It's about, that's not the struggle. It's about who were we created to be and designed to be and how we were made. So we're here as a helpmate, and God put different gifts inside of a woman that is going to help you, that is going to help this world, because we have instincts, we have intuition, we have the emotions, we have the sensitivity. Our brains are wired in that way in order to be able to pour what we know into a man to help him get to a space. That's not to say we're not designed to get to a space. Then people can take this and twist it. So we need a man to be better. No.
So once this book is really embraced by women, and now they're better versions of themselves. They understand who they are. They are now realizing that before, what they wanted was probably the last thing they needed.
Yes.
And what they needed was the last thing they wanted.
Yeah.
So they got that now flipped around.
Yes.
Right? But if they're in a field of men that don't know who they are, and they're still pretty much distracted by the visual and not being their best versions of themselves, how does that work?
Well, then you get into another field.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? What's going to happen is those men that are not ready are not going to come to you.
Right.
They are not going to come to you. Men that are not ready or don't have themselves halfway together, do not step up to me in any way. They're
Wow.
not going to.
I love that.
They just
Like
don't.
You just got straight serious.
No, I'm just-
like, look.
I'm just saying.
They
They can feel the energy. It's a no nonsense. I'm not
Yeah.
about drama. I'm not about. Hopefully, you have yourself together. Now, there have been some men that I'm like,
Like,
you know
wait,
what?
wait, how'd you get through?
No,
You
look,
just
I
bold.
know. I'm like, oh, you get an A for effort. You got a lot of confidence.
I got some friends like I have no fear, man. Look, I know guys scared to talk to you, but I ain't.
Look, I'm
ain't
gonna
got
pat you
nothing.
on the back because you got an A for effort. I'm not saying that those people don't have it together, but I'm just saying.
It's like when you were talking to that professor trying to get you,
Yeah,
trying to get a cell.
I know, trying to
We
get
had
a
no
sale.
PhD.
We had no PhD. Like, who are you talking to?
Like,
you
what?
you on a university campus? Did you
Let
not
me help-
realize
let
that?
me help her,
Let me
right?
help her. And some of the guys, they may be ready on the cusp. Again, the helpmate, and I'm not saying get people that you got to fix up. I'm saying sometimes people don't even know. They don't even know their potential until they get that right person to tap into them. And men blossom. And I don't know if you've ever heard the story. A lady, and they used to date, this couple they used to date, and then they broke up, and each person went on about their way. She ended up being like the first lady. Her husband was the mayor, and they are this high society, what they used to say, high society group, and they're doing their thing, and they're loving life and traveling and all the wonderful things, and runs into the ex-boyfriend at a convenience store, and he's really not doing well in life, and life is just, and so she talks to him for a minute or whatever, says, oh yeah, that was my ex-boyfriend, blah, 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 and the husband says, wow, aren't you glad? Look what you could have had. And she's like, no, because if I'd have married him, he'd been the mayor.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
That speaks volumes. Now, people want to take that and twist it and make it negative. They can, because they will. Oh, so that's what the man may say. Oh, she don't make me. All that is ego talking, because when you really get down to the basics and why we're here, and why relationships were created. So that's the message that I'm trying to get, is that it's that much power to influence. And, I'm a woman of faith, so the Bible speaks about that we have the power to influence. And we don't understand what to do with that power. It's not to misuse it in any way, but understanding who we really are and what it is that we're really supposed to do. And we talk about the want, and people go, oh, yeah, I keep saying, women, what you need is not in the package that you want. It is not in the package.
That is so true.
We've been told since we were young, you want everything. Everything that you want is not good for you. You can't get everything you want. You should know that. Growing up, your parents told you that. In school, you learned that. You can't get everything that you want. And generally, the path that you take in, the path of success, it is not strewn with the wonderful visual stuff.
Well, in reality, we're all broken at some level.
Absolutely.
And I don't care how we look on the outside.
We have issues.
Once you get past that veneer.
Yes. We have issues.
Everybody does, right?
And I'm the first person to tell people, look, people, I have issues, and I have to work them out on a daily basis. So,
but they see you. You're like the doctor. You do relationship stuff. You looking good, girl.
I'm supposed
Red
to
is
be
on
all
you.
that. Oh, yeah. You can dress this up.
Right.
But see, I can see on the inside of people, and I see so many people sad every day. I see the loneliness. I see the anger. I see the men. Men are just as insecure as women. They got an ego that covers it up.
So they say you're able to see through your eyes, not with your eyes.
I see through people, and I talk to people, and I feel their energy. I shake your hand. I'll look at you. And I can see, and I don't say that in any braggadocious way, but I am always analyzing. People say, "Do you ever turn off?" I was like, "No, I don't, because that's who I am." Yeah. So I'm always in an observant mode, so that I'm like, "Oh, I need to ask them, are they okay? Can I help them?"
So you make me want to ask you a personal question.
Okay.
So who you dating?
So do I have the man that I need? Is that what the question is going to be? Well, and actually, I'm not, because that's not where I am right now.
Okay.
Can I attract that person into my space? Yes. Do I have people that I can just put in there and they can fill needs and anything else that I have?
Right.
Absolutely. But to really have that purpose partner, and this is what I talk about in the book, knowing and understanding your purpose. Most people don't. That partner is going to help you to fulfill your purpose. Both of you are going to help each other. And having that purpose partner is really important. This project right now is the purpose.
Right.
And to be diverted or distracted by having to take care of and nurture right now is not the season for me.
So this is where my theory comes into play.
Okay.
So your mate should be your number one mastermind partner.
Your purpose partner.
And I think a lot of times relationships are looked at as distractions, where as opposed to a manifestation of your attraction.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's something that's hard to
Yeah.
gauge.
So when I say distraction, I'm just talking about all the stuff that's going on with this book right now.
Right.
And right now, if that purpose partner were to magically appear and be able to swoop in and where we are right now and take it even to higher heights, that's a different story.
Right.
And he may.
And
Who knows?
you may be putting out the energy to attract that person to you.
Who knows? Right now, and I said, that's what I said, Clifton. It was so funny. When I did this book, I said, girl, when you do interviews, everybody's going to be asking you, so what about Dr. G? You got the man you need. And I said, right now, I'm on the journey. I can do that. I can put out that energy, but because I was married for so long, I didn't have a desire to be back in a said relationship.
Right.
And so I don't put out that energy that, yes, I'm available and I'm wanting to be. I don't put that energy out.
Like you're attracting just what you want,
I'm
which is nobody right now.
It didn't say that. I just attract exactly what I want and
No
exactly
distractions.
what works right now.
No distractions. I got you.
So that's real important, and I'm glad you asked that question. And in the last chapter of the book, I created a new word because my whole thing is to help with authenticity,
right,
and authentic dating. Again, remember this book is about getting into the right relationship so that you have that purpose partner, you have that ultimate mastermind, you have that soulmate.
Right.
And the course actually changed the title because it's for men and women now, but the power of attraction, getting the soulmate that you need. And so I put in there, because I saw in this dating world that everything is so fake. Everything is untrue. People lie all the time. The fakeness of so much, and it's because people don't really know who they are, and they have a desire. They're insecure. It's so many reasons why I can give you psychological as to why people do that. But the authenticity of who you are. And so I realized that there was no way for people to describe when they're out here dating. There's no way to say you're either single or you're married. But the single people can have friends with benefits. Right. They can be kicking it with somebody. They can just be hanging out. They can just be, oh no,
I haven't said I do yet.
You give it all these titles, but you're still saying that they're single. Mm-hmm. But you have people. And I said, okay, we need to come up with another word. So I trademarked the word. So I put it in the book. I guess they had to trademark it.
Okay.
And the word is scenaried. So I put together single and married. You're not single, but you're not married. You're scenaried. Oh. You're scenaried to someone. What that means is you're not totally single. You have somebody in your life who you're accountable to, or you feel obligated to answer their questions. Case in point, why didn't you call me back last night? Why didn't you answer my call? Yeah. You're obligated to them in some way. Who was that you were with? I saw you talking to them. You may call yourself single, but you really are scenaried.
Well, here's what I say. I say everybody got somebody in their stable.
Well, and they do, and for men, that is mostly true. For women, it's not.
So
and women
I don't know about that.
I'm telling you, for women, that's not mostly true. Do some have? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not.
If they're not in the stable, they're on the edges wanting to get in the stable.
Well,
they just want to stall.
Women may always have somebody that may want them.
That's what I'm saying.
But not all women even fall in that category. But the point is that this is a way to now just say, are you scenaried? Mm-hmm. You answer the question. because a lot of times women will think, oh, and, you know, a man will say, are we just kicking it? And there's more emotional ties for her. So she's going to feel more emotions and something when you don't respond to her, when you don't call her back, or when you don't, whatever it may be. And the guy's like, oh, no, this is my friend. You know, friend, benefit, friend. The point is, I'm just saying be authentic. So now are you scenaried? And then now a woman could say, a woman knows the answer to that, or a man. Women could be scenaried too. And I said, if the person don't want to answer the question, they've answered it for you.
So my thoughts are what people do with their time, what people do with their money, and who they give their time to will tell you everything.
Absolutely.
And if you're in a relationship with someone, and I believe that they're hesitant in being totally transparent with any of those three, then there's a reason why.
There's a scenario. It's real simple.
There's a reason why.
I'm just trying to get people to be authentic. Just say, yes, you know what, I'm scenaried. Then that person could say, oh, well, I don't want to deal with that. Or they could say, well, I'm scenaried too. So maybe, you know, we can find each other in this, but I have the right expectations. Or if they say, yes, I am, that person say, well, I want somebody totally single. Good luck finding that. Totally single. I mean, but it's really just about being authentic. So I'm trying to create a new culture of dating and a new way of being, so that if you are a scenario person and that's what you want is other scenario people, that's the energy you're going to put out, and that's who you're going to attract into your life.
Yeah.
If you're not, women, you know, I go through the next to the last chapter talking about how to define what it is that you want. First of all, women don't a lot of times really know what they really want.
That's a good
and
point.
So they don't even know what they want. They'll tell you what they don't want. Or they'll say little things like, well, he has to be 6 foot tall. I don't know. Women are so stuck on this.
Heights. Well, but that's back to the package, right?
Stuck on the height.
But even if you're very clear about what you want, you just said that sometimes what you're looking for is not going to come to the package you're expecting.
Yeah, but they can't even get why they continue to attract. They don't even know what they want. They're usually generally confused. Okay. So they'll say, I want a guy who, you know, they may go on the visual, but then they may say, I want a guy, he has to have a lot of money.
Right.
What is a lot of money? That's not a definition. What does that mean? That's different for different people. So what? He has to have 6 figures, or no? Maybe he makes $75,000, but he manages his money really well. The $150,000 guy may spend all of his money. So what do you mean? Is it what he makes? Is it how he? So that right there is really ambiguous. A lot of things are really ambiguous. Oh, I want a guy who's in good health. Okay, he's in good health, but he's in the gym 7 days a week. Now he's good health too much. Or he only drinks smoothies. Well, I want somebody to eat. We're so confused. We don't know what that means. We don't know what we want.
So your book lays out a roadmap. Once you go through this from a woman's perspective, she will get very clear on who she is, what she's looking for, and have more control over the men that are being attracted to her.
Right.
Okay.
But the course that I've created is for both. So
both
now,
men and women?
Both men and women.
What?
Yes.
Okay, now you got something for the guys. Okay. I was wondering if you just kicked us to the curb.
I do. No. The course, I modified it to find the soulmate, to attract the soulmate.
Okay, but are they separate, or do you have men and women in the same class?
No, men and women will be in the same class.
What?
And that's because
we're going to show up now, right?
That's because there's something else, and I'm not at liberty. It's something really, really, really big that's coming.
You're not going to give us the scoop. You know I talked about what's big.
I know,
right?
you see what's big.
We can't.
So no, I can tell you what's big is coming is that we are going to be one thing that I can tell you.
Okay.
We're going to be doing a tour, and this is going to be a national thing because I will be working with a big media company.
Boom. And you heard it here on the Empower Series
and what's going to be happening. So that's happening. We're getting all the contracts signed even today. Today is the day we're signing the contract. So people see some really big visions for this. And then on the other side of it, it's going to be...
You're going to be on Oprah. You're going to be on Super Soul.
I'll be on Oprah and all that. But I'm saying something. You're going, what's bigger than that? It's going to be bigger. I'll have a platform where I will be able to help match people up together.
A matching. I thought about that. So you're going to start now matching
so
people?
the people
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so
do you have a name for that?
I can't. I can't tell everything. And I was like, I said the next big thing. I said, oh Lord, what am I gonna be able to say? What am I gonna be able to tell them?
Is the name protected yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we have to be really careful because as we are.
I can't. That's not a good name. Like the G connection.
No. That sound too bad. G connection. We might have to redo this. Yeah. I mean, when I tell you, this is taking on a life of its own, and you know. What I did when I did my book launch is I had a panel. Some of the men that I interviewed, I brought them on as a panel so the women can, interact and we can talk to them about some of the answers that they gave. Because some of the powerful research, I asked the questions like, what are you looking for most in a woman at this age, 40s, 50s, and 60s? And the word that came up more than anything was spiritual. That came up 31 times.
Yeah,
that they wanting somebody spiritual. And then number 3, I think on the list was they want somebody fun that can laugh. And I start looking around at all the women who just look like they got attitudes.
They were just serious.
I'm saying when I go places. And so this is on the list. It's not about, she got to have a Cocoa bottle shape. Another thing that I asked the men, were they willing to date a woman who's practicing abstinence?
And what did they say? And
it's about 70-something percent. I don't know exact. I think it was 75, 76% said yes, they were. Yeah. So things that came out were surprising. So I had the panel there, and it went so well that we've already done 3 parts to that panel. Okay. So the women want to have the conversations with the men. So I'm giving a platform to open up so people can have the grown-up conversations that we're really listening to each other. And it's moderated so that you can ask whatever questions, but we're actually listening to understand and not listening to respond. So it's been really great, and this has just been taking off, some things that are taking off by itself. So there'll be some more. So I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to come back when I can get the freedom.
You let it all out.
And I'll let it all out, and I'll advertise on here to tell you, this is what's getting ready to happen. So y'all better jump on board.
Y'all heard that, right? You'll be back.
Jump on board.
You won't be like, look, I'm too big, right?
No, I'm going to come back before I get there.
No, so you can be on Oprah. So Shaka Senghor is on Oprah, right? He came before. You know who Shaka Senghor is? He wrote the book Righting My Wrongs.
Okay.
And in 2000, he got out of prison in 2010.
Yes, okay, I do.
And then he spoke at the Empower Series in 2014.
Okay.
And then right before he came back in 2016, he was on Oprah Super Social.
I saw that.
And they're tight now.
I saw him on. I listened to that, and yes,
so,
I do.
So the thing is, he has a message that is saving lives.
Yeah.
And I believe, like you said, when you write a book that comes from the right place, and it's truly saving lives, and relationships are critically important.
Yes.
I mean, the quality of our lives are the quality of our relationships.
Absolutely.
And it starts first with understanding ourselves and realizing that we have power to attract the things that are coming in our lives.
Right.
So whether it's our mate, our children, our exes, our friends and our associates, I mean, you're doing something that's really big that's going to have a bigger impact than the people that are alive today.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
So I'm cool. I'm just excited to
so
be in your circle,
too.
baby.
Yeah.
But now, I have to read this book. This would help me.
Yes, and a lot of men have been purchasing the book. All right, and they're saying that, which is why I said, we need to do the course for both, because men actually, contrary to what popular belief we thought, that men actually do develop. Some are in a place where they want to learn and develop, and they don't think, I'm good, I know everything, And I talk about the different types of men and the types of women that are in the book. So you're going to be
I was reading that.
You're going to bring me back, because when you read the book, you're going to want to talk about all of that stuff in there.
That, like Casanova and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I was any of those.
You're one of those types of men.
But let me tell you what a friend of mine told me. So she relayed me to her big cat that she played with.
Big cat.
The cat used to hide under the table because it had a skirt, and the cat would go under the table and hide. But then she said the cat didn't know, but the cat was big, and the butt would be sticking out. And I was like, "You trying to say I got a big butt?"
I know. So what was she saying?
Her point was, Clifton, you're obvious, right? You don't think you're obvious, but you obvious, bro.
You're sticking out.
Like your game is showing.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in there. You'll find yourself in the
Really?
type of oh yeah, you will.
Okay.
You will.
So I'm curious. So offline, you can tell me what you see in me then,
Okay.
because to know thyself is very important.
Yeah, to know thyself and to thyself be true. Yeah, so
Cool.
yeah, it's a lot of great stuff. I'm excited.
Yeah, I say when people ask me why I'm still single, I say, well, I'm saving the women of the world, right?
Oh, well, see, now that's the energy. You putting out some negative energy. If you like,
I'm just comedy.
okay,
Comedy.
so you're saving the women of the
No,
world.
what I'm really doing is that I'm realizing that, I got to work on me. I got to work on me. I find that, there was a time where.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
there was
good.
a time where my focus was really raising my daughter and making sure that that I was relating well with her mom. And then a lot of women that I was running into had issue with that. And that's a sign.
They were
sign.
not the woman.
Yeah. So I figured, and my theory is that if you progressively move forward in your path, then the right person will come and
Right.
show.
Oh,
will
absolutely.
appear at the right time.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't take effort.
Right.
It shouldn't be hard work.
Right.
And so
They will naturally gravitate.
Yeah.
And when you look at the word attraction and what that means, and it's like a magnetic force. And it's something, when you see those magnets and you see something pulling and you can't see that, you see the manifestations when you put two magnets down and you see something that pull, not the magnets together, but you put a paper clip and you put a magnet
and they're moving
and
towards
it's
each
moving
other.
toward each other.
Yeah.
And you can't see it, but it's this force, and as you see on the cover of the book, and it's just powerful and it just explodes because you're attracting.
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, it's an attraction. It's the explosion that happens when you're attracting that right person to you. What you need, again, the emphasis is getting what you need. And I work through that in the book, helping people to see first of all, you need to know what you're bringing to the table.
Right.
Everybody wants something from somebody. I want somebody to make me happy. You and I going through divorce, we got divorces because we weren't happy. Our spouses, whatever, somebody made the other person unhappy. And we use that word. And I talk about that when I talk about the attraction and I talk about the positive psychology as opposed to, and how to be happy people. You have to be happy within your own self.
Somebody else can't make you happy, though.
Somebody cannot make you happy.
So here's why I got divorced. So here's why I would tell you for two reasons I got divorced. Number one, I wasn't spiritually prepared to lead a household, and I was making poor choices. But I wasn't able to love and accept Beth for who she was.
But you know why?
And I see that now.
Because you didn't love and accept yourself. For
Right. And I see that now. And so I think everybody is deserving of love.
Absolutely.
Whether they're right for me or not. So if we've got some kind of beef and it's not working out, it's like it's not them.
Right.
It's always my ability to accept and love that person for who they are. And if I'm not able to or don't choose to, then there's somebody else who will.
But see, and then what happens with the whole divorce thing still is that all of that can be worked out.
It all can.
It all can.
It all can. Yeah.
And I look back and I say, did you try hard enough? You just gave up? You said you're tired. Everybody say, I'm tired. You deserve to be happy. I deserve to be happy.
Yeah, we didn't know the answer, right? You're frustrated. You didn't know the answer, so you just said, hey, okay, this is out.
Because there's no class.
But you know what? No one told you the path of divorce. So what happens is that you're unhappy now. You project that in the future, and you say, I don't want that. But then you don't project you working through your issues and being happily married. And so at that point of making a decision, I just have a belief that we check out when we don't see the possibility of being happy.
Yeah.
But if we really saw the possibility of being happy, which is possible, because all things are possible, right? Then we would work through our issues.
Well, it's not even of being happy. It's being content with who you are and understanding that it's a process of growing and developing together.
Yeah, I got you. So it's not really that person changing. It's you working on yourself.
You're working on yourself.
Like I ain't ready to change yet. I ain't ready to grow.
Yeah, it's like when you work on yourself, you're going to see people differently.
Yeah.
When you and you read about being emotionally mature. When you get emotionally mature, that's going to be the secret. I put all of the stuff in there that everybody is going to need in order to be the best versions of themselves if they continue to do the work. And the course helps you to go through the work. Now, how people can get in touch with me, follow me on Instagram at Dr. Gladney. Like me on Facebook at Dr. Gladney. Follow me on Twitter at Dr. Gladney.
I was looking for you on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm on
So it's
Instagram, Dr. Gladney.
It's Dr.
Dr.
Gladney?
Gladney
Okay.
everywhere. So all of
right.
my social mediums is Dr. Gladney. And you're going to start seeing a whole lot about the book because it launched, it came out in April. And so we're just now getting everything ramped up and we're getting ready to do a really powerful national thing. So you're going to hear a whole lot. So y'all need to get it so y'all can already be ahead of the game.
So connect on all of your social media accounts.
Connect on all my social
and
media.
I'll link that on our accounts too.
And they can buy the book on powerofattraction.me or go to Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon.
Go to
You can get
Amazon
anything
and
on Amazon,
you can
right?
get anything on Amazon and they'll ship it to you in 2 days.
So are you on Kindle and what is it called, Nook?
Not yet. We're going to be, I'll be doing an audiobook.
Okay.
Stuff.
All right, cool.
So
And are you going to be speaking anytime soon?
I don't know. They're getting that all together for me.
Okay,
You know,
cool.
I got people
All right.
doing that.
All right.
I got people working that out for me.
Well, hey, I know you got another podcast you're doing today, right?
I do. Well, yeah, I do have another podcast. I'm
Okay,
doing
so
today.
that's going to be at what time? 4 o'clock?
It's at 6.
It's at
It's
6.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
in Frisco, and it's called something about black men driving and something.
Black
I don't
Men
know.
Drive. Okay. Well, Dr. G, I want to thank you for being on again and giving me your time because I know time is precious. You don't want to waste time with anybody. But I'll tell you this: the fact that you're here, you shared this on our channel, is going to go out to the world. And just like your previous program that's been out there since 2016, this is going to be out there forever. And it's really going to bless people that we don't even know yet.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
so I think we got to wrap. I want to thank you.
Okay.
I want to thank you for staying tuned and watching.
Yes, thank
you can come back and watch this. Please share this with someone else. Don't keep this to yourself. So connect with Dr. G on our social media accounts.
Yes.
Connect with the Empower series. Share it. And I want to thank you for your generous contributions. Thank Comerica Bank. Thank A&E Media Group. Thank Dr.
you,
G.
and thank you, Clifford, for having me. I'm so excited. This is great, and I will be back to make a big announcement.
Okay, I love that. I love that. So is this my book?
That's your book. I'll
Okay,
sign
cool,
it for you.
Cool.
Yeah,
That'd be great. Thank you. Do you have a pen? Or you want to use the Empower
can
series
use
pen?
the Power Series pen.
Okay.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, I don't know.